It is my distinct pleasure today to introduce our two keynote speakers, Suzanne Boyd and Shannon Thompson Jones of What Your Friends Want to Know, or what they won't tell you. You've seen it in their tagline, when a licensed psychotherapist and a TV news anchor get real. We are thrilled to host Suzanne and Shannon here today as they explore topics like self-care and building your village. I invite you to read all about Suzanne and Shannon's backgrounds and professional accomplishments in your programs today. And if today's topics resonate with you, visit their website to explore additional conversations that they've shared. Our keynote today will be live streamed. So please visit Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Facebook page or What Your Friends Won't Tell You on the YouTube channel after the luncheon to get a refresher. And without further delay, please help me welcoming Suzanne Boyd and Shannon Thompson Jones.
Thank you.
We got chairs.
Good afternoon. I am prepared.
Yes. I was like that. We're already crying at the video, right?
No. Not playing around.
Yes, we requested a box of Kleenex. We cry often.
Today, anyway.
Yes.
So I would like all of you beautiful women in the room to please stand.
All the women.
All of you beautiful women in the room, please stand.
Yes. Okay.
So if you are mothers, among you are mothers, stepmothers, grandmothers, aunties that nurture their nieces and nephews, friends that support their friends and their friends' children. If you're that neighbor that has a couple kids in the neighborhood that don't have parents that are as attentive and you're making a difference in their life and helping them along the way, all of you I know are out there mommying. That's what we do, right? And if you're a special needs mom, you are really mommying. So I want you to give yourself a hand of applause because you're an amazing mom.
Yes. Thank you, ladies. All right, now you can sit down. And now, all the men in the room, I'd like you to stand up.
All 7 of you.
All the 4 men in the room.
Woo!
Because, ladies, this is bravery.
You are brave.
This is bravery.
Yes.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. You know what? And it's also going to be a very good lesson for, I think, all the men. Right? They're going to learn a lot about us today.
They're literally going to leave now.
So when we were sitting at the table over there, I was trying to, someone thought I was still on the news, which I was like, I'm not on the news anymore. So I wanted to kind of explain what Shannon and I are doing and what this live stream is all about, and how this keynote came about. Because we at first said we needed to write a keynote speech. Right. And I looked at Shannon and I said, we don't need to write a keynote speech. We just need to do an episode, because that's what we do every week. So Shannon and I, about 1.5 years ago, started this show called What Your Friends Won't Tell You. It is a digital talk show that we stream up to multiple different platforms at once: Facebook, YouTube, web. We can do multiple different platforms. And so behind us, you will see our entire crew. Bruce, round of applause for Bruce. He's my former director at CBS 12. My former executive producer at CBS 12, Stephanie Craig. Give her a round of applause. And former commercial production videographer, Gene, who is our videographer. Give him a round of applause. And also Lori, one of our teammates, is here as well. Thank you, Lori. So when we decided to do this show, it was really about putting out content that helped people. We wanted to tackle life's challenges and how to deal with them. And if you haven't read her bio yet, Shannon is a licensed psychotherapist and probably one of the most brilliant licensed psychotherapists I've ever met. And she is. And so what we do in these episodes is we talk about a topic, whatever that is, and then Shannon gives these actionable, simple, really amazing tools for how to deal and cope with those challenges. So that's what we wanted to do today. And we want to talk about not just motherhood, but also womanhood, and some of the lessons that we have learned over the last months, years. We're both mothers. Her children are a little bit older, but we want to go through some of those lessons that we've learned, and we're live streaming it. So if you would like to share it on your Facebook page, just go to Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Facebook page, and you can share our live stream. But Shannon is going to start with her life lessons.
Well, it's only fair that I also talk about how amazing my partner is in this, because not only is she just heart and soul of what your friends won't tell you, she's behind the scenes doing everything, but she also is technologically genius. So I just tune out when she does the live stream and she starts talking about that stuff, because she knows how to do all of it. I know how to do none of it. But you'll see how raw and vulnerable she gets, and she has so much life experience. She's the greatest interviewer I've ever met and has the kindest heart and soul. So you're blessed to have her here with you today.
And I did want to mention really quickly, because I forgot to say this, InfoStream, which is the IT company for Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, is sponsoring this live stream. So thank you to InfoStream. Okay. Go ahead, Shannon.
All right.
Give us your lessons.
Hold on, let's get down and dirty. Grab your Kleenex. It's a funny thing what the universe does when you find out you're going to do a keynote for Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. Wow, the lessons the last 3 months.
I know,
my kids were
right?
like, let's really stick it to her so she can really have something to talk about.
Right.
So it's been quite an interesting few months. I am blessed to have my husband and my beautiful mother here with me today. I'm already going to start crying because my mom was a single mom, and she's an amazing woman, and I think she did a really nice job raising me. And she, one of the things that really fits into what I wanted to talk about is the fact that, we didn't have it perfect at first. My mom was raised in a difficult path, and so she was an alcoholic for the first 10 years of my life. And I'm so ecstatically proud to say she's been sober for 37 years. So my growing up process, we had a bit of chaos for the first 10. And then my mom divorced and went into AA. And so by the time I was 20-something, or actually younger than that, she decided we were going to be a healthy family. And then I decided to carry that on. And I thought, I don't really know if I want to do the whole addiction, divorce, train wreck thing for me. Are there anybody else in the room that's slightly perfectionistic, type A, control freak?
I feel like there's a lot in this room.
You don't have to stand up because we can tell by the way you're dressed. But that was definitely my shtick. So being that I was perfect at 27, I met a perfect guy and we had a perfect life and we got married. It was a perfect wedding, and then I had a perfect child, and then 22 months later I had another perfect child, and then all of a sudden, he didn't really like me anymore, I don't think, and the whole bottom of my world fell out. And I spent 4 years kind of waiting for us to be what we were for the first 4 years, and loving and kind and friends and lovers and all that beautiful stuff. And for about 4 years, it just wasn't that. And so at the end of that 4 years, I said, I'm gonna go now because this isn't really working. And I grabbed my 3 and my 5-year-old, and I was terrified, and I got a little place. My mom wanted me to move into the garage, but
wow, you really sold that, Mom.
Yeah. And I was like, no, we'll do our own house around the corner. So we did that. And it was the first time that I had ever in my life felt this powerlessness and what I call, I don't know. Right? At 15, you're like, oh, I'm going to go to college at such and such, and you get the good grades, and then you go to college. And then you're like, oh, I think I'm going to marry so-and-so, and then you flirt and whatever, and then you marry so-and-so, and everything kind of just lines up. And then there's a point for all of us, and for some of you, I apologize, it might be very young, but there's a point for all of us. Most people, it's 25, 35 by what I see coming into my office, where they come in, they're like, oh my God, I have cancer, my mother passed away, I'm going through a divorce, my husband's having an affair, whatever it might be, and there's devastation because people didn't plan for this. They're completely out of control, they're completely powerless, and they don't know anything. When I went through my divorce, people would be, do you ever think you'll remarry? I don't know. Do you think you'll be okay? I don't know. Are the kids gonna be okay? I don't know. It was so terrifying. And I'm so grateful today that I got there at that age, because really, spoiler alert, this is gonna be bad news. The rest of my life has been,
I don't know.
I don't know. And powerlessness, right? Because that's life. Like, things are perfect and then there's a car accident, or things are perfect and then you get diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. Like, this is how life is. So I'm so grateful that I didn't get it too young, but I got it young enough so that I can help people walk through that in my profession. So, and I do it with a lot of spirituality and a lot of faith and a lot of trust. I don't know if you guys watch the news, but my daughter decided this week, because it's like one of the most stressful weeks of my life, that she would travel across the country from Arizona to here. She doesn't live there, her friend does, so she'd fly out there and drive across the country to come back. And if you've glanced at the news, there's torrential flooding, and they say the deadliest floods ever, right where she's gonna drive. So I was like, well, that'll just work great for the speech on powerlessness, and I don't know. I found out
And
she's
her
taking
daughter
a
is
different
20.
route. Yeah, she's 20.
Yeah.
So she'll be
She's
20 in
not
August.
16
No.
and driving across the country.
But these are the kinds of things that happen all the time in life. So that's the first life lesson that I pass on to you. The second life lesson has been just recently. I've had, like I said, so much fun in the past few months with my kids. My son will turn 18 in a week. His initials are TNT. They're accurate. He is a stick of dynamite. He came in that way, and thank you to St. Mary's, he was in your NICU for a week because he had to get here early as possible. So he came in like dynamite, and he's been my greatest teacher. But one of my friends, when I was venting to him, he said something really powerful, and I just loved it, and I stole it, and I have to call him later and tell him that I stole it. But he said, we're responsible for the effort and not the outcome, which is really kind of stings if you're one of those parents that's like, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then my kid will do this, this, and this. Yeah, no, it doesn't actually work that way. You pour love and values and guidance and maybe church or synagogue every Sunday and like all these great things that you want them to know and learn and be. And then at like 14, they kind of like go like, no thanks. And they just decide who they want to be. And they do that starting sometimes at 14. Mine tricked me. My daughter started it at 19. I'm like, no, you can't do this now. We were supposed to do this at 14.
You were
I'm not.
perfect.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do this because we already skipped this. So, but they will do it at some point between 14 and like, say, 28. I have two beautiful stepchildren. Our stepson, my stepson Connor, did it at like 17, really threw his dad and I for a loop because he like was being so good up till then. And then we're waiting on Megan to do it. I don't think she's gonna do it, but she might. She's kind of done it a little bit this year, and she's 27. But somewhere between 14 and 28, your child will do this fun thing. It's called individuation. You get to take that fun word home with you tonight. An individuation feels like you're having your eye teeth pulled without any Novocaine at all, if you're the parent. And it's when your kid decides that they love you and all, but they don't want to be anything like you. They want to be who they are. And and all the things you taught them, they want to throw right out the window because it's not who they are. So sometimes they'll do this gently, like my daughter just like doesn't tell me and just does whatever she wants, and that's kind of fun. You find out later and you're like, oh my God, you did that. And then my son does it, well, this year he stopped talking to me for 3 months. And he picked Christmas, and my birthday is December 19th, and New Year's. He could do this because he went to live with his dad at 16, which I expected, because a lot of times boys want to be with their dads as they get older in a divorce situation. But he definitely caught me off guard with the 3-month not speaking. And when I say he didn't speak to me, what I mean is I didn't see his precious face for 3 months, or hear his voice, or a response to a text, or a happy birthday, Mom. And what has saved me walking through this is all the men in my life that I go to and I say, they go, have you heard from him? I said, no. And they go, my neighbor, Joe from New Jersey, he goes, Shannon, you heard from your boy? I said, no, Joe. And I haven't. Oh, God, if you knew what I did to my mother, may she rest in peace. I love that woman so much. Didn't talk to her for a year. He'll be back. He's an idiot.
She does accents too, by the way.
So I share this with you because some of them will do it gently and like just pull out maybe the back teeth. Some of them will do the eye teeth without Novocaine. But all of them have to do it. As one of my brilliant therapist friends says to me, Shannon, if he doesn't do this, he'll be a 35-pound albatross on your couch. 35-year-old albatross on your couch. He'll never leave. So our children, they have to cut the cord. And some do it early, and some do it middle, and some do it late. And it's usually excruciating for us, but it has to happen because we hope that they can move on to bigger and better things at some point in different ways. I know there's different kinds of kids, so they'll move on in different ways, but they have to be able to become competent, and they cannot do this unless they individuate from us. So I'll be praying for all of you. And those are my lessons.
Well, my lessons have come fast and furiously over the last 8 months. Yesterday we were kind of going over what we were going to talk about, and I said 6 months, but I realized it has been 8 months since I quit my job. You may or may not know, I spent 25 years on the TV, on TV news, and 20 of that was here in West Palm Beach at CBS 12. And things had started to change for me on many different levels. But I think what you learn is when you start to become really sensitive to the things that didn't used to bother you, that is a voice telling you something. Thank you. And the news was really starting to bother me. And there was also some stuff going on at the station. And then my kids, my kids are 13 and 9. My daughter's getting into the individuation stage. And I really wanted to be there for them. I spent 20 years of my life either waking up really early, 2:30 in the morning, or going to bed really late, 2:30 in the morning, depending on the schedule that I had, because there is no good schedule in television, unless you're Oprah. And I do have an Oprah story, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I decided to leave the station. I decided to leave my career. And what I was not prepared for was the debilitating anxiety that hit me. And because it was my decision to leave, and I thought I got this, and I kept telling myself, you got this. But then the universe is saying, oh yeah, you don't got this. And what I've realized on the back end, so the anxiety was bad for about 3 months, and I could not pinpoint what was causing it. And it finally hit me about a month ago about what was causing this debilitating anxiety. And it was the fact that for so long, I had labeled myself as a TV news anchor. Like, that's what I identified with. I was Suzanne Boyd, the TV news anchor. And, it's crazy when we do that to ourselves. We all label ourselves, and not just by our career, but if you're a mom, well, I'm a mother, and so I can't do that. Or and we do it to our kids. Mm-hmm. She's the picky eater. Well, he's got ADD, mm-hmm. or he's got anxiety, so he can't do that. Or I've got anxiety, so I can't do that. But I think what these labels do is they keep us from our true destiny. Mm-hmm. So, that is one of my first lessons, is to stop labeling ourselves, because you are so much more than what you do on a daily basis, whether that's a mother or if you're working outside the home, because labels they're just labels. It's not really who we are, and it's not who I am. And what this has allowed me to do, because I don't want to go be a doctor or a lawyer, but I really wanted to create content in a different way. I wanted to use my skills in a more authentic way. And so that's what I'm doing now. And that feels good to me. So drop the labels. Mm-hmm. The other thing that really hit me, thank you, is judgment. And we all do it. We do it in our heads. You know, oh God, what is she wearing? Oh, did you hear what she was doing? You know, oh, she's a stay-at-home mom. Oh, she's a working mom. You know, we all do that, and I did that. I did that for so many years because I was the working mom. And so I couldn't be there for Lane and Trace's every little thing at school. And so I was always, well, I'm too busy for that. And clearly they're not as busy as I am. In fact, you know, I use that as a badge of honor, that I was so busy that I couldn't do all that other stuff. And they had so much time on their hands, you know? All those stay-at-home moms, they had so much time on their hands. Well, what's your saying?
I've decided I cannot judge anyone because then I will have to live it.
So I had to live it. So I basically, over the last 8 months, even though I'm working, I became a stay-at-home mom. And I realized that I don't have any time. Like I thought all the stay-at-home moms had so much time, and I'm like, what the heck? What the heck happened?
Yes.
And because I judged for so many years, now I'm living it.
Yep.
And now I get the chance to really see from the other side. So, and it's not just the judgment of, you know, working mom versus stay-at-home mom, because we're all a team. We're all a team. You know, it's the lesson of, you know, do you send your kid to public school or do you homeschool them? You know, I mean, those are the kind of things that just, it's different for everyone. And we all have our own experience, and we all have what's right for our families and for our children and for us. And so I think we need to take the judgment down a little bit. And I will tell you, this is serendipitous that today I had to go to Publix at 8 a.m. to get eggs for everyone because I had to do a Facebook Live with Eric Roby at 8:30 this morning, like we do every Friday morning. And he's my former co-anchor. And I have to make breakfast for him because I feel like I need to take care of him.
Which is a whole nother show.
That's a whole other story.
Focus, Suzanne.
And I was in the grocery line at Publix, and this magazine was screaming to me. And it's the O magazine. And the reason it was screaming to me because it said exactly what I was feeling about this topic, which is there's the one who gave birth to you, and then there are all the women who raised you up. Right? Because there are so many women that throughout my life that have raised me up and have gotten me to where I am today.
Yes.
And so I think that was so poignant for me to see that this morning, to be a woman who raises other women up, to be a person who raises women up.
And men too. We don't have to knock the men down.
Right.
We can actually raise everybody up.
We can raise the men up too.
Yeah, there's no rules against that.
And make them breakfast like I do for Eric Roby. No, just kidding. So, and the final lesson that I learned is that bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is feeling that fear and taking action anyway. And so I know a lot of people looked at me after I left CBS 12 and they're like, you're so brave. You know, you just act like nothing. You act like there was no fear and you had no fear. And I had so much fear. Okay, I'm doing it, Steve.
I know. It's your turn.
I had so much fear. But I kept telling myself, be brave. And so I want you all to realize that fear is it's there. And yes, we all feel it. But you have to take the action anyway, whatever that looks like, whether it's a career change or a divorce or, you know, any kind of major change in your life that you know needs to be made, that little voice that keeps getting louder, like it got louder for me until it hits you over the head like a boulder, that there will always be that fear. But you can walk through it, you can feel it, and you can still take the action. So those are my 3 lessons.
I love it.
And now Shannon's going to give her Shannon's toolbox, which we do at the end of every episode, which are these actionable tools that really can kind of help you deal with motherhood and womanhood.
Yes. Thank you, Suzanne, for sharing, always from her heart, always. So the first of Shannon's toolbox is retain who you are. You know, when you have a baby, it can kind of take everything. It takes a lot of time and energy, you may have noticed. And a lot of times we just kind of lose who we are. And we lose sight of the fact, for sure, I'm realizing now with mine 18 and 20, that they were gonna at some point be like, see ya. And, you know, and you're like, okay, what, all right. I've got 12 hours today. What will I do with those? So if you don't retain who you are, that will be really painful. So for me, I'm a dancer. I grew up dancing. I love dancing. And so I would do country line dancing every Tuesday night. You know, even through my divorce, it's probably what saved me through my divorce. You know, the kids would be put to bed and I would go from like 9 to 12. I would kill to have that energy again. I don't have it anymore. But I would go and just dance, you know, just then the music, it would just block everything out. And so whatever your thing is, Suzanne's yoga, and it's in her schedule. Like that's what she does.
I put it in my calendar.
Yeah.
You have to put it in your calendar.
Or it won't get done.
Or it won't get done. Yeah.
Retain who you are. The second one is make sure you're on the list. You know that 20-page list you have for you and the family and the friends and the in-laws and everybody else? You need to put yourself on there. Self-care is so important. If you do not take care of yourself, in 18 or 20 years when you get done with this whole project of mommying, there will not be much left. So you have to take care of yourself, whether it's exercise, getting some sleep. I know that's kind of a joke if you have a kid, but mine started sleeping up through the night about 14 years old.
And then they never wake up.
Yes, and then she slept in after that. So put yourself on the list. The third thing that saved me, especially going through a divorce, but I think every mom, every woman really needs to have this, you have to build a village. You must have your village. Get to know the other moms that are in your world. Carpooling, taking turns picking up the kids, babysitting, swapping. I love this concept. A lot of people don't have anybody that they would trust, but you have other couples that are friends. You have a kid, they have a kid. On Friday night, you say, you know what, I'm gonna let Isabel stay the night at your house on Friday night. We're gonna go on a date. The following Friday night, you drop your daughter off, we'll watch her, and you guys go on a date. This is great resources that are available that we never even consider tapping into. Just social time with your friends. Building that village of women that hold you up, that can be there for you, that support you, that help you with the kids. It's so important. The next thing you're gonna have to do when you build that village, and this one I feel like I shouldn't have to say, but like everyone in the room will probably kind of go, yeah, ask for your needs. Ask for help. How many of you, don't raise your hands, we know who you are. How many of you are married to somebody who is not helping you? And then if I asked you, did you tell them that you wanted help? Well, no, but I mean, my God.
Know.
Can't he see the laundry basket right there? I mean, what? Geez, he almost fell over it, but he couldn't pick it up. The answer my husband gave, and I believe him, no, he does not see laundry baskets.
Or the socks on the floor.
But I will tell you what, and my husband taught me this lesson 10 years ago. He does anything I ask. He doesn't see it or think the way that I think, and he doesn't know what I need. But when I tell him, he is all about it, and he hears me. Those of you that are speaking to people who don't hear, I don't know what to tell you.
Go see Shannon.
But we are responsible for asking for that need and for helping our spouses, our friends, our siblings, our family members understand how they could be helpful. You have to ask or it won't get done. That I know.
That we do know.
And the last one is, I'm gonna ask all of you today, you know, before you leave, reach into your handbag, and if you could pull out that hammer that you've been hitting yourself with, just place it in the center of the table and leave it here. No more self-criticism. Stop beating the crap out of yourself. You are doing an amazing job. You are doing the best that you can, and you are enough.
Okay, who's ready for some free therapy? So I think we're going to do a little Q&A session. If anyone has some questions that they would like to ask us or ask the expert, we'd be
Or the other expert.
We'd be happy to answer any questions. I think we have someone that's going to be going around with a microphone okay, right back here. So if anyone has a question, maybe just raise your hand. Anyone? Don't be shy.
Oh, we got one in the back here.
Oh, okay.
We got a winner.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
Very brave. Thank you for going
Very
first.
brave. Because she was fearful, but she walked through the fear.
Back here. So I was just thinking, less moms, we want to have it all. What's the difference between having it all versus having it all right now?
Oh.
And kind of managing those expectations.
Yeah. So did you just answer your own question? So the question is,
No,
what's the...
I'm having trouble doing that, so
Yes.
I need you to guide.
So what is the difference between having it all and having it all right now? Did something pop in your head immediately that you wanted to speak to?
Well, no, I just was thinking patience, because I feel like eventually we get what's supposed to come to us eventually, always. But
Yeah.
you will probably have a much better answer than that.
So that's a great question. It's a very deep question. But the first thing is, and you said after that, changing your expectations. So I said you just brilliantly answered your own question. I think that we have so many expectations on ourselves to have it all, to do everything at the same time, to handle everything, to do everything, to be all things to all people. I may have been doing that this week and then got sick yesterday, right before this keynote. So that is something that we do. So I think what Suzanne's speaking to is, for me over the years, it's been a lot about spirituality and this expression that's been modified with curse words, but I'll keep it clean for the purposes of this audience. Trust the process of your life. There is a time and place for everything. And so slowing down, that having it all right now, no, you're probably not going to be able to do that. But if you can be present in the moment, what you're going to have is going to be delicious, right? So when you're sitting with your baby and you have no energy and you're exhausted and your friends are all doing this or doing that, and God, if you've looked at social media, you're living your worst life comparatively. Right. If you can be in that moment with that precious child and recognize that there'll be another time to do that and another time to do that, and just be in that moment, it will be probably pretty amazing for you. So learning to trust the process of your life and slow down, and knowing that probably by the end, you'll have all of it, but it's not gonna all be at once, or you will burn out.
And it's not going to be the way that you thought it was going to be. You know?
Ever.
Because, for instance, I've had the dream of producing my own shows probably for 10, 12 years. And so when I was at CBS 12, I would dream up these ideas for shows that I wanted to produce on my own. But I could never find the time. I had young children, or then I was going through a divorce, and then just things happened one after the other after the other. And here I am now producing my own shows. It did not happen. Thank you. It did not happen the way I thought it was going to happen. It did not happen the time that I thought it was going to happen, but it will eventually happen. I mean, if it's supposed to happen.
If it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And that, I love what she just shared, because when I was a little girl, I was going to be an entertainer. I took ballet, jazz, tap, I sang. We didn't have American Idol or any of that fun stuff, so I missed that boat completely. There were no theater schools when I was a kid. So by the time I got to 18, I decided I need to play it safe. I need to get a degree, make money, and have a family, because that's what I had always longed for. And I put the entire dream of doing anything in that kind of field off to the side. And I'm cruising along, and I'm like 44 years old. And Suzanne says to me one day, "Hey, you want to come on TV and do this little segment I've got on 50 Shades of Grey, and you can weigh in on this and that and the other thing?" And I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, I want to be a helper. And she comes back to me after and she goes, "The producers are losing their mind about you, like that you have this ability on camera." And I'm like, are you kidding me? 44, nothing's where it's supposed to be. This is a mess, really? And I ended up on Channel 12 for 2 years with my own segment, and then moved into What Your Friends Won't Tell You, and I'm living my dream. I never, that door, I closed it, locked it, put Botox on it,
Right.
So that's so true.
I do have to say that the reason our producers went crazy, and I'm gonna give this away as you haven't heard it.
Here she goes.
It's amazing. So my news director had me do investigative pieces, like you can investigate 50 Shades of Grey, but he wanted it to be, really why women were connecting with those books and those movies. And so I interviewed
Keep
Shannon.
it clean. There's a kid. There's a kid in the room. Keep it clean.
Oh.
You have to fill in the blank with a different word.
Got it. Well, I'm not saying anything bad, but you guys will get it. So she said women were like crock pots. You have to simmer us all day long. And men are like microwaves. You just... And she said that, and everyone went crazy. Everyone went crazy. I mean, does that not deserve to be on television? And is that not a totally appropriate way to describe it? So, hi, Allison.
Hi. Sorry, I wasn't looking to cut you up, but I just wanted to, I don't have a statement. I know we're running a little long. We have time for one more question, but I wanted to thank you guys for being here. Shannon's not allowed to say this, but I will say it. Shannon has been my counselor for 9 years and has navigated me through some really incredible, challenging times. And it is such a gift that she and Suzanne, who is also such an incredible woman who took that leap that has to be so scary that I know a lot of us are terrified to do. She did it. And I think that if she can do it, if you're feeling that way, make a step every day toward getting there. But I want to say anything that I'm saying is largely as a result of the insights that Shannon has provided me over the years. So I hope you guys do go back and follow them on Facebook and all the platforms because they are phenomenal women and mothers, and I am honored to know both of you.
Well, and Miss Allison, like the gift of being a therapist is that your clients teach you more than you could ever teach them.
I love
and
you.
And she is one of
love
the
you
bravest
so much.
humans I know, and I love you.
Anyone else have a question?
Be brave. Great.
This one right here. I could probably come put my mic right next to you.
Just come talk right into her chest. That won't be awkward.
I have two. One, can my children come spend the night with you this weekend?
Asking for your needs, I love that.
But more importantly, I have a hard time with saying no, not necessarily and to my children without feeling like the enemy, but to friends and others that need help. But I always feel like and then I get torn in too many different directions.
I love that question so much, and I feel like you just spoke for like not 350, but like 35 million women in this world and people in this world. So that is the crux of I'm like a codependency specialist, and I'm not offending you because codependency is pretty much everyone in the world. Like we have such a hard time taking care of ourselves, and one of the key things that we do is we're like bobbleheads, right? Like, hey, can you pick up my kids tomorrow? Yeah, sure, no, absolutely. I hate that kid. Why do I have to pick that kid up? Yes, I'm on it. Can you cook dinner? Can you come to dinner? Absolutely. Yes, no, we're there. Oh my God, I want to die. I'm so tired, right? So we all do this. So many of us do this, and so it's very hard to just switch that. But my favorite tool for that, and you can get away with this because we're all so busy, is the pause button. So, hey, can you get together tomorrow? We'll get our families and I'll cook and you'll come over. You know what? I have got to check with my husband. I've got to check my calendar. I'm not sure. I think we've got something crazy going on. Let me get back with you. And then when you hit that pause, I want you to then really pause and go inside. Do I really want to go to dinner with them? Do I even like her? Do I, right? Like, go inside. I'm so exhausted. I was really planning on sleeping, but that's okay. I'll just go anyway. No, take care of yourself. Put yourself on the list. And when that is a no, it's so much easier to go back, especially now with texting. Oh my gosh, I checked my calendar and it's just crazy Tuesday. I'm so sorry, but rain check. I'll be back in touch. But if you can build in that time to really get clear, you're gonna have more courage to say what you need. I'd love to come, I love being with you guys, but I'm exhausted and can we do it another time? And it's easier sometimes to put that in a text or whatever. So do that pause. Instead of doing the bobblehead yes, say, can I get back with you? Let me just check. And you can just check in 30 minutes, but that's enough time to get clear and to take care of yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of things that have worked for me, and they did towards the tail end of my career because I had such a crazy schedule and had the 2 kids, was I came up with really clear rules about what I would and would not do. So for me, it was any event in the evening during the weekday, I automatically said no to. And and that was anything. That was even if a friend wanted to go grab dinner or go grab a drink, whatever it was, that was a no. And on the weekends, because my life was so crazy, I would not travel I wouldn't do an event unless it was in Delray Beach, which is where I live. And so those were my very clear rules, and I stuck to them. Now it's harder now because people don't think I have a job.
And they show up to your house, hey, with wine.
That's right. And that actually happened last night.
True story.
But the other thing that I learned from Allison Seligman, who was on my People of Palm Beach podcast, and said something really amazing that resonated with me, was that she has written down her goals for the year. And her new rule is, unless it gets her closer to her goal, she will not do it. And so I would suggest writing down, I want to be more present with my kids. Whatever your goals are, I want to, work more on my brand. Whatever it is, write those down. Yeah. And then when someone asks you to do something, do the pause, and then check your list, and is this getting me closer to where I want to be?
Right.
Because you don't owe anyone anything, we all owe ourselves. We owe ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. And every relationship and everything that happens when we are the best version of ourselves gets better.
And isn't that so authentic and genuine? Because be honest, do you really want the person to go to the movie with you that doesn't want to go to the movie with you? We're so afraid we're going to hurt someone else's feelings, but really the truth is, I don't want you to do something with me if you need to take care of yourself instead. You're not going to be able to show up anyway. So it's really better to be that genuine, authentic self and just be honest with people. I know that's scary because we don't want to hurt people, but think about if we're not honest, that also hurts people. Yeah. That's the irony. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's a great question.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Stephanie, for the live stream. Thank you, InfoStream, for sponsoring. And thank you to Healthy Mothers,
Healthy Babies. Amazing.
I learned so much about this organization today.
Thank you.
Thank you.